Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto Anime episode review. This one's going to be for episode 23, which is called Bonds Come in All Shapes. And yeah, this was the end, at least for now at least, of this Naruto Gaiden adaptation arc, and it was really well done because the end of this does have the biggest moments. It kind of got away from, I suppose, some of the drama, the setup of the confusion from before, and just had this be the episode that made it abundantly clear that, you know, the people you think are your parents are actually your parents. There's no confusion, and they solved that while also having some really nice action, and it just made for a very good overall arc for Sarada as a character, with the big reveal at the end that she has decided on her goal, kind of as a ninja going forward, and that is to become Hokage. Which makes complete sense in that, yes, she finally, I suppose, had this big moment of connection with her family, meeting Sasuke for the first time. But really, I think the person who in a way kind of impressed her the most over the course of this journey was Naruto in a way, and I like that she's kind of taking after him, and she sees him as the goal in a way, that she understands that her father, obviously she cares about him, but is, you know, a very different type of person than she is. So I like that they, in the same episode, kind of had this be like Sasuke's, in a way, like his biggest moment of showing like care for someone else, with how he protected you know, Sakura at times, and also Sarada in this episode. But it's also an episode that highlighted that you know, it's not always going to be this case where like Sarada like looks up to her father in that way. So that's the unique dynamic of this new generation of characters here in Boruto, that, you know, it's not always the case of just you have to look up to your parents. That in this case Boruto looks up to Sasuke and Sarada looks up to Naruto, and that's a very, very unique dynamic. And I think for the rest of the episode, it really is just a lot of the big moments. We got some of the really, really high quality animation for Shin Uchiha versus Sakura's fight. Some really nice taijutsu stuff, and then the kind of chase sequence in the hideout as like everything's getting destroyed. That was really well done. You know, I maybe would have liked to have seen it kind of be a little bit more of a showcase of Sakura rather than a showcase of the animation. I felt like that's a little bit of how the scene ended up going, that they just kind of had them be two characters fighting with really cool stuff happening around them, rather than necessarily that the two characters are just really like showing how amazing they are. But it was still very well done. The other stuff that we got here was obviously the arrival of everyone coming together here. You have the fight taking place outside with Naruto and the Shadow Clones facing off against the clones of Shin Uchiha, while on the inside you basically have Sarada's family versus the main Shin plus other clones. And it led to some really nice moments, specifically once we get down to it, the big moment of the big Sakura-Sasuke teamwork moment of just her understanding that, okay, I'm going to walk off in this direction, then we'll do the Rinnegan switch, and I'll come in with the flying punch. That was a really cool moment. That was really one of those ones that showed Sarada just that they may not see each other all that much, or even say or showcase their relationship all that much, but, you know, you have to have a special connection with someone to be able to do a teamwork move like that. Plus just some of the things that Sasuke said, you know, given that he's someone who doesn't speak a lot, and even when he does speak, maybe doesn't say the things you want, how respectful and acknowledging of Sakura's skill he was, I thought was very well done. Where when she got the two, you know, knives in her shoulder, like, he went over to help her, pulled them out, but immediately just acknowledged that, like, you can heal them yourself, right? And kind of was just willing to let her do that. That it wasn't just, oh, I've arrived, I'm here to protect you. That, no, they both got back into the fight even though they were injured. And obviously, come the end, it led to the big moment of Sarada getting her kind of big action scene in the episode of using the Sharingan, having an amazing dodge against a weapon, and then delivering the, I suppose, Cherry Blossom Crash attack that is kind of Sakura's signature move. So she has the Sharingan of her father and the strength of her mother. You know, what better way to showcase that she actually is, you know, their child, and there's no confusion about parentage here. That was, you know, really, really well done, seeing how they animated the unusual movement that Sarada did to avoid it at the last minute because of the Sharingan reflexes. And she obviously took out that kind of... they didn't really explain what it was. The little thing that had the teleportation power, that was unique little thing. It was kind of a part of Sheen. He was the one teleporting people around, and she ended up kind of saving the day in a way that he was going to get away, but Sarada stopped him. But the other stuff was with Shin Uchiha, you know, in reflection, given that this is the end of him as a character, he served his role for this arc to get across the idea of like the themes of family and what it means, and the difference between just biological family and then family from a just, you know, caring about someone perspective. And he was the one who kind of represented, well, like, I am like, they are my sons are literally clones of me. He's all about genes, but he doesn't care about them and is willing to, you know, use them as shields, you know, use them as decoys to get attacks in, use their organs to help him and stuff like that. That he is a father, but didn't show any qualities of a father yet. You know, Sasuke, who kind of up to this point kind of hadn't really shown himself to be an amazing father, you know, is amazing here in terms of protecting her and showing that he does care about her in the end. So that was well done, and it led to the moment of obviously the clones turning on their father and taking him out and trying to, you know, fulfill their own goals in the end. And that's when, of course, Naruto stops everything. And I liked how they did it in that it's kind of this implication of like, he didn't like necessarily like choose to forcefully like threaten them in this way. He's kind of just like, hey Kurama, don't get so angry, and he just happens to like scare all the Shin Uchihas into basically surrendering. So that was a really great Naruto moment to show that if he had committed to really going for it, the fight would have been over. But like he said to Chocho at the start, his aim was never to like properly hurt them. He specifically told Sasuke throughout the episode, you know, don't kill them. And he himself didn't try to kill any of them. Hence why they went for this. And you know, you had that interesting dynamic of Sasuke thinking Naruto's soft, but also in a way, you know, that softness being like a key thing in terms of the relationship with Sarada, that he was about to cut down that Shin Uchiha clone until Sarada screamed. And I think that's one of the ones where like it kind of shows that she kind of doesn't want to be like that side of her father, that kind of willing to do what it takes side of things is maybe the side that she doesn't like, and appreciates Naruto's more you know, caring approach to things. That by the end of the episode, when the reveal is that they're not gonna like really, they're not gonna do anything to like punish the clones, because there's an understanding from Naruto that Shin Uchiha just grew these clones and thought them only his ideals, that they don't know the difference between right and wrong, and they are just children, so we'll look after them, and puts them in Kabuto's charge as someone who's helping to run an orphanage. And you know, it's I think stuff like that is one of our things where like, yes, some fans don't like it because Kabuto is like a huge war criminal, probably should be in prison, but I think it speaks to the overall theme of what Naruto in the first place was about. That being this whole idea of the cycle of hatred, of like, you know, you take out your enemies, people take revenge because you've taken them out, and revenge, and the cycle just continues. Whereas actions like this by Naruto and the Leaf Village actually help to make things better. That choosing to have this person who ultimately did all these bad things, but because of the type of person that they were, and turning them around and having faith in them that they now at this stage that they've grown won't turn against them, and giving them a second opportunity to help other people, that's the sort of stuff that stops, you know, the cycle of hatred that was such a huge aspect of the original Naruto. That, you know, letting Sasuke kind of redeem himself. Don't just lock him away in prison for what he did. Let him go around and kind of act as this, you know, Hokage on the road in a way, the supporter for the Hokage. That's the sort of like decisions that are different than before. It's not just a case of you did something wrong, you're in jail, we'll attack you and kill you. So I always kind of like that dynamic that, you know, given Kabuto's backstory, it makes complete sense that he always didn't have this great sense of like who he was, what he wanted to do because of everything that happened to him. But here's this kind of perfect opportunity for him to do something. The one notable thing in his life, you know, his time in the orphanage, he now has a chance to give that to other people. So I do ultimately like that. Now, whether or not they'll do anything in the future with the Shin Uchihas, I'm not entirely sure, but it's just interesting. I liked it that, in a way, it gives, you know, Kabuto a chance to kind of be more of a father figure to these clones than the actual Shin Uchiha was to them, which of course was the whole theme of the arc in a way. Other stuff, I like the kind of more kind of cute moments towards the end. Chocho coming back, disappointed because she didn't find her real father, but then she finally sees Choji in full light, not in some sickness-induced thing. She finally sees him in his kind of thin form after using his butterfly power. And Ino's the one to kind of reveal that, like, oh, she's never seen you like this. And it's just like, oh, it is Choji. And she really wants to know this power. And she thinks this is actually one of the cool aspects of being part of the Akamichi clan. So that should be fun. I'd like to see him actually going to teach her this technique. But it was a nice resolution to like Chocho's little kind of plot involvement in this episode. I also like that like Ino seeing Sasuke for the first time in ages was like really enthusiastically running over to him, and Sarada like gets in the way, just that like, no, this is my family time, no one else. That was a fun little moment. You had the cut over to Karin, who finally figures out what Suigetsu actually did, and just being really clear about it, that like, of course Sakura and Sasuke are Sarada's parents. Me and Sakura are friends. I helped her to deliver Sarada. Like, there's no problem here. That is not my umbilical cord, it's theirs. Like, it's just like, what did you just do, Suigetsu? You know, still showing that, you know, she obviously cares about Sasuke still, but that she is close with Sakura now, and I'd like to see some of that dynamic. I think the manga actually shows you a bit of that flashback, but I think we've had word from like animators or the writers working on the show that they feel there's enough content to that to probably do an episode of itself, basically, to cover that flashback moment, the birth of Sarada. So at some point we might get that, and that would be really fun to see. But yeah, we got the Suigetsu moment, and yeah, he's gonna apparently give her some new glasses, which I like. That's kind of Karin's role as kind of, I suppose, kind of almost like Sarada's godmother or something like that is the dynamic. I get the sense here that, you know, she looks after her in terms of the glasses thing, and that's a fun little connection. I'd actually really like to see Karin and Sarada meet, just because there will be some like awkwardness and confusion, but just to see what that dynamic is like. There's a lot of interesting, you know, character relationships that kind of come out of a lot of this stuff. Even Suigetsu, I'd like to see him just arrive at the Leaf Village and just have to make all these apologies to Naruto and everything like that, because I suppose one thing is just that, like, obviously like Naruto was a little bit like, it was a bit weird in the last episode, Naruto being like, oh, Sasuke, what did you do? And surely he had to know that wasn't the case, and they never really properly, like, from like some of the characters who actually thought that, you know, Sasuke and Karin actually their child is Sarada, the people who thought that, it was never really like resolved, them getting the reveal that it's not the case. Us as the audience got that, and like Sarada at the end was told very directly by Sakura that that was the case, but they could have done been a little bit more clear about that. But it led, of course, to the big emotional moment at the end, the goodbye. Sasuke's going away again, but he gives her a hug, and we get the big until next time, Uchiha forehead poke. And I loved how they animated this, because it was very similar, like, of course, because at the end of Naruto, when Sasuke goes off and actually does that to Sarada for the first time, to Sakura at the end of the series, she has a similar reaction to how like Sarada has now, and she immediately looks back at her mother and realizes that the little flashback scene that we got last episode, the true meaning behind that forehead poke, that it is better than a kiss or anything like that. But I still like how they immediately followed that up with Sakura gives Sasuke the lunchbox. He only has one arm, and she leans in, and he's just like, well, bye. And it's just like, he's kind of in a way trolling her, and she wanted a kiss, she didn't get it, and they made a bit of a joke out of it. I don't think it's really meant to imply that they've never kissed, like some people believe, but just that it's this unique dynamic in their relationship that Sakura is like deprived of this sort of stuff. But yeah, that's the episode. We have the bit towards the end after the credits where, of course, Sarada reveals to Boruto that it's her dream to become Hokage, and we know Boruto, how he feels about people who become Hokage. But the movie hasn't happened yet. Boruto hasn't had his big moment of growth, so there's that. Next episode is called Boruto and Sarada, so that they seem to be setting up, of course, the whole teams of 3 dynamic, and they're going to be on a team, and then because Boruto and Mitsuki are so close, you sort of see how the team is maybe going to form in the next few episodes. And then after that, they're going to either have to, cover the tuning exams and Boruto movie stuff, or skip past it. And we'll see where we go. But yeah, that's been my review for Boruto episode 23. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the episode, as well as what I had to say here. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.